faith, family, and the future of our community. Welcome to Ashonda at Large. I've heard a number of people's opinions about this Jussie Smollett situation. I don't know if y'all remember years back when I think it was the war in Afghanistan, and there was this thing called waterboarding, I believe, where you had these troops that were taking pictures of the POWs in some very troubling light. They were showing pictures of them, just torturing them in just inhumane ways. And what ended up happening with these soldiers that felt so comfortable to be in front of the camera and smiling as they were torturing these POWs, that when it came out that the military distanced themselves from these soldiers and said, we didn't tell them to do this, and the soldiers were punished as individuals while the collective was still allowed to continue to flourish. I believe this is the same situation where Jussie's coming in and he's being looked at as though he's an individual actor, like he just thought of this whole thing himself, and then he went out of his way to hire 2 actors from Nigeria or use the extras that were already on Empire to formulate this big plot and plan to have these MAGA ghosts come in, and now we can have another conversation about LGBT rights and racial discrimination, and we can play on people's emotions. I do not believe for 1 second that Jussie Smollett is a single actor in this situation. I don't believe that he was methodical on his own just because of his pay that he received at Empire. I don't believe that at all. I believe that Lee Daniels is just as guilty, and that Lee Daniels actually participated in this whole operation. One of the tactics of people who hold to a white supremacist ideology, and I include Jussie as well as Lee Daniels in this, because even though these 2 men are brothers, they are profiting from a white supremacist system. They're profiting financially, they're profiting in terms of power, in terms of fame and position. So they're going to hold on to that standard and push the narrative that is white supremacy. Now, I say that even though that they're homosexuals, there are homosexual white supremacists. Understand that the LGBT community only latches on to the black community when it is politically expedient for them. But when they no longer have the necessity of the black community, then they push the black community away. And so we have to keep that in mind. They're not interested in us, they're interested in using our struggle to mirror their own pseudo struggle so that they can get legislation and such passed. So they still hold to a white supremacist mindset because they go into Congress to lobby for their so-called rights, what they think that they should receive. They're not Lee Daniels and Jussie Smollett. They're not fighting for the black narrative, for the American descendants of slaves, Hebrew narrative. They're not fighting for that. They're fighting for the LGBT community. This was something that in their minds they didn't think through all the way. One of the ideologies that white supremacists hold is the CYA, or cover your A mentality, because if you do not cover your behind, if you don't cover your tracks, then you will be thrown under the bus. Understand that. You will be totally, utterly thrown under the bus. You will be left out to hang on your own, and everybody else is going to back away like they had nothing to do with it. And the reason for this, it has to be because there has to be a scapegoat. The scapegoat is put in there to take on the sins of everybody else, to pretend like and this is one thing that Jussie, is contending with right now, because at this point, anything that he says coming out of his mouth, people won't believe him anyway, and I'm sure he understands that. If he comes out and says, you know what, this is not me, Lee Daniels had involvement in this, and Empire, all Lee Daniels is going to do is say, I can't believe that he would come out here and he would accuse me of having anything to do with this. I thought he was like a son to me, and I'm totally ashamed that he would do this. We've got real issues in the LGBT community, and to have one of our own just go off and try to incriminate me when I'm doing everything that I can to change the narrative through my shows. I'm doing all that I can to stand for us, and then he goes out of his way to make a false claim and false allegations. I'm so disappointed. And these are the games that they play. These are the games that they play. So, you know, I do not believe that Jussie is a single actor in this situation. Of course, he's going to be hanging out to dry, and his career is probably at this point going to go down the tube, but that is something that he chose to do. He chose to put himself up there like a lamb to be slaughtered for his lies. So I just wanted to come from that position because, you know, we have to understand in terms of what we're dealing with, again, that we are dealing with a spiritual battle. And this is an example of those who sell themselves to Satan. If you sell your soul to Satan, understand that Satan is not a loyal God. He's not. He will give you the fame and the fortune and all the things that you want, but understand that they're at a price. It's temporary. And the minute that you get off code in his system, he's going to throw you out to the bus. This has happened again and again and again. And this is why the white supremacist mindset is actually a demonic mindset. So what Jussie encountered is that he has no real friends. He has no real friends in this world because he's chosen to reject the friend that is closer than a brother. He's chosen to reject the Hamashiach. And I hope that this is an opportunity for him to really think about his life, to really think about what he's putting forth in his life. Are his fruits worth meat? Do they stand up to the test of time? He's going under fire right now, and all I'm seeing is wood, stubble, and hay. There's no gold, there's no silver, but he's going to be refined. And the question that he'll have to ask himself is, did I do what I was supposed to do in life, or am I, as a young man, being thrown under the bus right now because I made a decision to stand up for a community that is not going to stand up for me because that community is demonic? Am I going to look at this as an opportunity to get my life right with the Most High, or am I going to continue to make excuses? Because, you know, this is the reckoning moment in his life. I mean, I'm sure he's going through quite a bit of shame. He's going through a lot of psychological battles right now. And I just hope that he doesn't take it to the extent that a lot of people would in his situation who do not know the Most High and try to actually hurt themselves. So, you know, instead of coming from this position, like, you know, I had done a podcast about Jussie a few days ago that I was going to be uploading, but when I saw this new development, I said, you know what, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because, you know, Jussie is not doing this. He is not in this situation on his own, and I'm not going to throw him under the bus because I realize that that is what the enemy does. The enemy comes in and he uses you and abuses you and then throws you away. So I think instead, this is an opportunity to pray for Jussie, to pray that his eyes would be open to the truth, that his eyes would not be closed, that he would not look at this as a situation that other than what it is. This is a spiritual battle. And as someone once pointed out, Dr. Rick Wallace, he had pointed out that he's going to go through this situation as a black man. He's not used to being a black man's shoes, being that he's had celebrity and affluence, but he's going to go through this situation as a black man, and he's going to understand himself. As they say in Ireland, you're going to understand yourself. So he's going to understand himself, and he's going to understand that this system was not designed for his interest as a black man, not an LGBT man first or a homosexual man first, but a black man first. So I just pray that he would open up his heart and his mind to take a reflective moment, look at the situation, because the truth is that he knows the truth. He knows what really went down. He knows the conversations that he had with whomever he had, whether it was with Lee Daniels or any of the other actors on Empire or any of the executives in Hollywood or any politicians. I don't hold anybody as who's in that circle as innocent. You know, they all work together to infiltrate society and make society more and more weak and more wicked. So he knows what conversations he had. He knows what went down in his heart of hearts, and this is his time of reckoning. And I pray that he takes this time of reckoning seriously, and he uses this as an opportunity to call out to the Most High through his son Yahushua HaMashiach, that he would call out to him, that he would repent of his sins, that he would turn away from that lifestyle as a homosexual man, and he would turn back to his creation role and receive the God of his salvation, the one who died on the cross for his sins. So yeah, I just want to come from this position, seeing this. It's a, you know, even though this man is living the life that he's living, I can't help but to see a melanated man going through the situation from this angle. I can't help but to see it because I know how the system is. The system is not fair. The system is not, it's just business, as they would say. But in any case, those are my thoughts. But leave your opinions in your comments below. I want to definitely know what you think about this Jussie Smollett situation. And, do you think that, hey, this man, he's going to get what he deserves? Or do you think, hey, you know what, even though he did wrong, he did not do wrong on his own, and that these people need to be held accountable as well? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below for sure. As always, I want to thank you so much for listening to Ashonda at Large, where we do discuss faith, family, and the future of our community. Like and share this, please. We are excited about the content that is coming out because we do believe that it is serving our community, opening up our eyes to the deception all around us, and equipping us to go in and armed with truth to fight back with the word of the Most High and fight for our families, fight for our community, and fight for our future. So again, thank you for tuning in. Until next time, love yourself without hating your enemies. Yah bless and shalom.